DJ Killzone Jones, you better remember the name. DJ Killzone Jones, you better remember the name. DJ.
I don't see well, so he's writing this school.
On who wanted to be a superhero.
But I don't know the answer myself.
You can just ask your question. You're the boss.
Yeah. All right, I'll
He didn't like your question.
how about my judge?
That is a good one.
All right.
They might.
I'll ask for a specific. All right, I got it. Do I do it now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Dr. Strange had many oaths or incantations that he would mutter. Who knows what comes after the hoary? Is that too easy or is it?
Someone yelled it.
That's right, the hoary oath of Haga. I'm amazed that I remember it. I don't even have one.
Round of applause for Tom.
The hoary oath of Haga. Hey, does anybody know what comes after the shades of? That man's a genie. What is it? He's a magician. The shades of the shadowy seraphim.
All right, so
Bring back memories.
we do have one important announcement unrelated to Stan.
I don't want to hear it.
Do we have a TJ Warren in the house? TJ Warren, if you can come speak to this group right over here, they need some information from you. All right.
A little bit of a mystery going on.
All right, I think we're ready to get some. It's.
I wondered who it was. I mean, you see a blank card in front of you. It could say anything. It could say Stanley isn't Jordan. It could be Adam. That's nice. Now I know his name. Sneaky. You ruined this quad playing.
It'll come out. Little OxyClean, OxyClean. It'll get that stuff. Never mind.
I feel this thing hasn't really gotten started.
Let's start with a question. What is your question, sir? You look very intense.
And are you going to mention it to everybody?
I've told you.
Stan, I've actually got a question for somebody that isn't you, but I wanted to tell it in front of your greatness.
That's right, people. It's happening.
Let me tell you, there's a lot to upstage me.
All right, y'all come here for a minute. Come here. And what is your name?
My name's Justin Bird.
Justin Bird.
And
And
what
what is
did
your
your
name?
name used to be?
Alexi Brewer. Round of applause.
Hands up, that.
Do you see the effect you've had on people?
Yeah, they didn't even know each other when they walked in. Me with you.
All right, so next up we have Dr. Travis Langley. He teaches classes at a university, and he teaches a lot of subjects about superheroes. And he's going to be doing a panel later about you and some of your works, and he's asked some of his students their top questions for you. So Dr. Langley is going to ask you those questions, and they're going to record it, and they're going to do a study on it. Either
Thanks
that,
for
or
making me nervous.
either that, or I've been scammed out of $35. All right. Go ahead.
I am presently teaching a course entitled Stanley Heroes at Henderson State University. The students have been endlessly impressed, by the degree of humanity brought to these characters at a time when characters were very flat otherwise. So there's an awful lot we can talk about. And I let my students pick the questions instead of asking my own. And these really are their questions. Questions that I have not heard you answer a zillion times. Samantha asked, if Stan could change one character or story he created, what would he change and how?
If you could change one story or character that you created, make a big change, what would it be?
Well, I don't know if you know, there was a character I had, I think, in the Fantastic... Is this thing working?
Yes, sir.
I think in the Fantastic Four, I had a villain once called Diablo. I love the name, but to this day, I can't remember who he was or what he did or why the hell I even used him. We had a book that had to go to the printer quickly. Jack and I were busy, and I came up with the name Diablo, and I gave Jack some kind of a fast plot. He did the rest. He drew it, and I wrote it, and we sent it out. I never knew what it was. I do not know who this idiot character is. If I had it to do all over again, I would have really thought more about Diablo. No, I wouldn't have, because I didn't have time. I would have wished that Diablo was a better character.
I love it.
I wiggled out of that one.
The class watched the Stan Lee story documentary, and they got very interested in your history, your wife's involvement in your career, and how she helped you decide to tell a different kind of story. Christine wanted to know, did Joan ever help you plan any specific stories or characters?
Did she ever help me create any? Not a bit. She's selfish. I'll tell you two funny things about her. One, she has the worst temper in the world. So, in the early years of our marriage, she got mad at me in about the late 60s. We were having an argument, and I had this beautiful Underwood, Remington noiseless portable typewriter that I had typed just about all of the things I ever wrote. And she said, I forget, she was mad at me. She lifted up the typewriter and she said, I'll show you. She throws the typewriter on the floor. It shattered into a million pieces. Well, I didn't care. I could always buy another typewriter. But I said to her the other day, Joni, do you know what we could have auctioned that typewriter? Got to her. The other thing, one day she said to me, this was about 20 years ago, I think I'd like to write a book. You've never written a book, or I said, well, I'd like to try. So well, she's my wife. I bought her a whole ream of paper, and I had a computer, and I said, here, write a book. She brings me something months later, about 300 pages. I didn't bother reading it. How good could it be? But I sent it to an agent I knew, and I said, she's my wife. Be good to her. Let her down easy. Believe it or not, he calls me the next day. He said, this is great. He sold it. It was published as a pocketbook by Dell. It was their top-selling book that month. And I thought I was talented. So I said, write another book. I can stop working. He said, no, I can't. And that's my wife. And I forget what the question was.
Kelly Jean wanted to know which female character was your favorite to write.
Oh, I loved them all. And I guess I liked Mary Jane the best. And, originally when I did Spider-Man, I thought Gwen would be his girlfriend. But somehow she was so nice and so perfect that we couldn't make her interesting enough. So we introduced this girl, and I love the way we introduced her, and I'm sorry they didn't do it in the movie. His Aunt May had been saying to him for the longest time, I want you to meet this nice girl who lives next door. Now, the average teenager, he hears the word nice in front of a girl, that's a turnoff. So Peter never really wanted to meet her, figuring she'll be some dull gal, if my aunt likes her. tiger, you hit the
Jackpot.
Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen,
The last question from my students. Ben wanted to know, after a long, hard day, what's Stan's favorite way to relax? Is there a favorite drink or what?
I sit down and try to dream up another story. No, I'm not much for relaxing. If I have a few spare minutes, I have a drink with my wife and tell her how wonderful I am, but she doesn't. We watch some television, but most of the time I'm at my desk making notes, and it's what I love to do. I like to play with stories.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right after this, Peter Coogan and I, fellow comic scholar and I, will be talking about Stan behind his back for the next hour.
Hi, Stan. Actually, you contributed an interview essay to What is a Superhero book I'm co-editing. The question is, Odd John. It's a 1935 novel, which features a bald, telepathic mutant who gathers young mutants to him to protect them from a world that hates and fears them. I passed the question to your assistant. He said that you said you'd never heard of it, but it's where the term Homo superior comes from. And so I'm just curious, if you didn't get Homo superior from John, do you remember the circumstances for using the term Homo superior?
This is one of those things where I'm going to abbreviate drastically. Where did the
DJ Killzone Jones, better remember the name. DJ Killzone Jones, better remember the name. DJ